Good morning, everybody. Dave here for episode number 0000038 of LivLive. It is Wednesday, April 29th, 2026. Actually took last week off. I was down at a fantastic NARI, National Association of the Remodeling Industry National Conference down in Tempe, Arizona. So had so much going on there, so much to learn. I didn't have time to do the show, but really excited to be back this week. And I've been waiting to have Kai on for a while now. Kai Biami is like the guru of AI. And we first met a year ago. You came out to Chicago and you were on a panel discussion and we were talking about marketing. I don't even know like what AI looked like then. Is it hard to imagine?
Yeah. It's we got so much to talk about, Dave. There's so much that's changed since that panel. I'm ready to get into it.
That's what I figured. I mean, in full disclosure, I had not. There's all this talk around Claude, right? Claude AI, Claude Code, all this stuff. I really got into ChatGPT over the last year and a half or whatever, and really started building out. Like I feel like it knows me pretty well, and then I'm terrified to go over to Claude. But before this episode, I'm like, I have to take the deep dive into Claude, and dude, I am in deep. I don't know what's going on anymore.
Yeah.
So, and you're going pretty hardcore into Claude. What's going on? What are kind of is it workflows? What's kind of your master plan with it?
Yeah, I think I think the big shift right now, we'll probably talk about it more, but moving a lot into Claude Code. Essentially, so you think of like ChatGPT, like the chat on the web, that's like the chat, right? And then Claude has like kind of like a middle ground called Cowork, where it's a desktop app. It's kind of a mix between like, chat and then Claude Code. But I've been digging deep into Claude Code, which is like working through a terminal, an IDE, which is just a fancy way of like making a terminal look like, like Hacker Man. You've ever seen that? Like people making fun of like people hacking and stuff like that. You think that's like what a terminal is if you don't know. An IDE just makes that look prettier. Okay. So working a lot within that. Big reason why is having all of my files on my computer. So I actually love that you brought up like it terrifies you to like switch and all that. Because when you work with all the files in your computer, so like when I'm working with Claude Code, it's working with, markdown files, text files on my computer. It's just powering. It's just like my bot, like right now. But let's say like Codex, which is ChatGPT's version. If I want to switch to that, all the files, all the memory still lives in my computer. It's still my files. So that's been my big like shift. It's just like moving it to like all files on my computer, getting away from the web app. And that way, like if I want to switch back and forth between models, I own everything and it's all in my computer.
No, it totally makes sense, right? Because you end up in this world of ChatGPT or Claude for that, just the conversational nature of it. It's all this stuff that you're talking about that just exists in those conversations, but it's not really giving you anything concrete or it exists locally, right? Is that another way of describing it?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Like when you use the web apps, so like traditionally when you think of ChatGPT and Claude, you're going on your browser, you're typing things into a chat. Same idea. It's just all of those files, all of those chats, they like live on your computer now. So like a good example is like, let's say like I'm prepping an outline for Spencer and I's podcast for Builder Funnel. I can prep that outline in a markdown file and then it lives on my computer and I can have Claude Code make it, but then I could just turn on my Codex account and have Codex look at it as well. Instead of having to like use it in the browser, have Claude create a file, download that, upload that to ChatGPT. That's like the big difference.
Okay, so help me understand a little bit. I'm trying to sound a little bit smart, but I really don't know what I'm talking about. I'm learning as I go.
It's a lot. Yeah.
I think the accessibility of the conversational interface of, hey, good morning, David. Welcome. What do you want to work on today? Is a really easy, an easy way to get your toes wet into the world of AI. And it's also takes you down a rabbit hole pretty quickly. What you're talking about though is the Codex and the Claude Code is a different type of interface. Is that right?
Kind of, yes, but it's very similar. It's where they're actually pushing like a lot of people to. The only difference is, so like let's say like you're working with Claude, Dave, and you have It creates memories about you. So it has like, here's what Dave does for work, here's Dave's personal life, and then here's Dave's goals, right? Those files would live within a Claude or ChatGPT project, right? Like, let's say you have
Right.
different projects for those. The only thing you're doing is, instead of those folders and projects living in the cloud, when you use Claude Code or you use Codex, those folders and files are actually like in your computer. So you could open those up, you could do whatever with them, but that's the main difference. And then that's the reason, like, why I'm switching to that is, like, let's say like you're trying to switch from, you're like, oh, okay, like I want to switch to ChatGPT, or I want to switch to Claude, but all my memories are over here. Well, all those files are already on your computer. So the only thing you need to do is just switch. It's very similar, like almost the same interface. The only difference is really like the file system. It's local versus cloud. It's like
Okay.
the easiest way to explain it.
But it does look a little bit scarier because you almost have that terminal view of it,
Yes,
which
but an
is
IDE
terrifying
makes
for
it
someone like
pretty.
me.
Yes, but an IDE makes it prettier. I'll send you a
Yeah.
video
Okay.
after this. It's an easy setup. It is more of a setup though, but I will say, yeah, like that's the we're probably going to get into it, but like, I personally don't think there's a bigger gap right now. I'll say something. Last year, I was like, I think like we came out with image, right? We came out with where these models could create images. These models could hear us. They could talk back to us, right? Lots of big advancements last year. I said last year, I was like, I feel like, the models are plateauing. Like we have the big features. Like, I think it's just gonna keep getting like better this year, but I don't see any like huge innovations. Like
Yeah.
that's completely changed. So I like right now where I stand, I don't think there's a bigger gap between like the power user who's using Claude Code, who's using Codex, and they're like working with files directly in their computer versus somebody that's kind of playing around with ChatGPT in the web app. I mean, the gap's gotten that big, which is insane.
Yeah. That's what I'm seeing, and that's why the stuff that you're putting on LinkedIn is unbelievable, right? Because you're literally putting out videos of everything that you're doing for the most part. You're like, check this out. This is what I got Claude to do. So, kind of, what's one of your most exciting exercises that you put out on video there?
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple that I'm really proud of. I think one of them. So quick, I never introed myself, Dave. You had to
I
yell at
know
me
I
this
gave you a
time.
little bit of
Yeah,
intro. Yeah,
yeah, because it'll be good context though. But so day job, I work at Builder Funnel, marketing agency for remodelers and builders. We help builders and remodelers go through strategic digital marketing, and I'm a consultant there. So essentially, like my job is when I get assigned a client that comes in, I learn more about their business. I audit their entire business, and then I make a strategy plan for them. And then our team, which is like our implementing team, they take my plan and they implement it and then they make it their own. So that just gives some context. On the side, also, like when you mentioned Kai Biami Marketing, I like my side quests, Dave. So like I'm working with a comic book author right now, helping him promote his book. We had a successful like funding campaign. Now he's doing his second book. I also help some business out with AI and stuff like that. But I would say number one, like I run our ads for Builder Funnel, so our Facebook ads. Probably having Claude, like I gave Claude a screenshot of the Facebook ad creative that I make. I just make it in Canva. It's like text based, pretty easy with maybe some pictures here and there. And it basically create a Python script it creates those for me now. So when I go in, I'll say, hey, here are the top performing hooks. Here are the top performing variants. It uses Python to go ahead and make me two variations, one square, one vertical, and it basically just makes those creatives for me, which was nuts. Like that like blew my mind that I
yeah,
could just give it a screenshot of something and then it like rebuilt it with code, and now it's like, okay, anytime you want to make it, let me know. Um, the second one that I've been really liking is I'm playing around with like a content system. So one of my clients at Builder Funnel, I've kind of playing around with like because like a big thing, like a big issue like in the industry, it's just like with a lot of clients that I see is like we are seeing more clients, more builders and remodelers using AI to write content. I personally, like, you see my opinions on it. Like if it's good content, it's good content. Google doesn't punish that. You want to have your own personal experiences in it. The issue though, it's been very generic, very like I could tell ChatGPT wrote it.
yeah.
To the point where I'm like, okay, we're gonna have to look at this. So I'm playing around with like a content system that's been super cool. So I have Claude go in. I say, hey, this is our topic. Let's say we're doing a kitchen refresh topic. I'm like, I want to target kitchen refresh versus remodel. I want you to find more keywords that we can target and then I want you to look at like the top 3 results for each of these keywords for this client's specific geo. Let's say they're located in Austin, Texas. And then I want you to take like the top results from those, so other blogs, Reddit threads, and see like what people are talking about, how long these blogs are, the page titles, the metas. And the reason I'm doing that, Dave, is those are like clear signals that like Google's telling you like, hey, this is what's going to rank, right? Because something that's top 3, like it's going to be around this long, it's going to talk about these things, be structured in this way. So Claude pulls all of that, and then I have it look through all of like my client notes, all of our calls, to pull anything they talked about, like kitchen refreshes, for example, to pull like their own quotes. I have it scan their website to pull in real projects and context from other content. So you see, it's just like pulling in a ton of stuff in the background, and it builds like this huge brief. And then it makes like the first draft, and then I always have to go through it and like rewrite it, like not rewrite it fully, but like kind of look through, make sure it looks good. But like that's been huge. Content's been great. It's like really high quality. And you're not just like letting like, you're not just saying like, hey, ChatGPT, write this for me, or hey, Claude, write this for me. But there's just so much context that like that would take me probably like an hour, Dave, to like go in and like look at all that stuff. So to be able to see all of that and make a super high quality post, pulls in different quotes, different projects. And the really cool thing was connecting it to, we use HubSpot. So connecting it to HubSpot and then having it like set that blog up for me. So not only that, but pulling in the pictures, underlining the hyperlinks, making tables. So all that has been super sweet. I wouldn't say it's automating content, it's making the content better. You still have to go through it, but that has been what I'm trying to teach when people are writing their own content. Think about it in that way instead of just having ChatGPT write it for you. So anyway, very long-winded, but those two, probably creating the ad creative and then also like the content system, have been like my 2 favorite projects I've been working on.
Well, as you, and some AI lessons here, I guess, or I'm just curious your thoughts on it. So when you instruct it or prompt it to review all of this stuff, I have found, and I'm curious how you hold it accountable. I have found that sometimes it doesn't go as deep as I want it to. An example would be after the show, and I use AI to put a show notes together as well as the chapter bookmarks, because I probably wouldn't do it otherwise, but I literally download the transcript, load it into chat, it gives it to me, and then I read through it. I'm like, this literally is not what we talked about at all. It's just guessing. It's totally just taking a shortcut of like, here you go, here's what you guys talked about, here's the bookmarks. It's like, that's not what it is. So I say, that's not what we talked about. I need you to actually read the transcript. And then it'll like gloss over it, read every 5th word or something. I don't really know what it's doing, but are there ways to make sure that it is
make it more accountable, accurate? Yeah. It's actually funny. So something for you to know, and also your audience, is how these models are trained. Is they are trying to get to users' intended action as quick as possible.
Yeah.
So they are actually trained to cut corners, and you have to make sure that they don't cut corners. That's how they're trained. It's how they do it. So here's what I will say. This gets harder in the web app. So when you're using this on the web, that's when I'm referencing web app. That's what I'm referencing. It gets harder. So because your everything is going through the cloud, right? So it's like an extra layer of like all of your communication is all going into this cloud. And it's almost like you can't really control like where all that stuff is held. It's trying to reference so many things at once. And so it's prone to make more mistakes in the web. So I'll still give you ways to like how to fix that. So I'm not just telling everybody, hey, you have to do Cloud Code or Codex. You don't have to. But really it's going to be through skills. That's going to be a big one.
Okay.
So to explain what skills are, a skill, all it is just a markdown file. And all a markdown file is, if you don't know what that is, it's just a text file of like instructions, context. So I could have a markdown file, or I could have a skill that's called, let's say it's called landing page optimization. And it basically explains in the markdown file, hey, here's what the skill is. When the user asks for landing page optimizations or paid ads page optimizations, like trigger this skill. Here's what the user wants. Like, here's like best practices for a landing page. Here's what you should check for. It basically is just something that it can read over. It's like a brief for itself and instructions before it starts the task. So creating more skills, Claude already has those. ChatGPT, I think, just added them. I think they're only for enterprise though, but I think they're rolling out to other accounts. But creating more skills is going to be big. Some people would also say it's like longer prompts. To be honest, the longer your prompt is, the more people have found that like it's not going to read all of that same way, right? It's just going to kind of,
Right.
you're right. It's going to start getting like, it's just, its memory is getting too full. I remember there was a trend at one point that was copying and pasting your prompt twice and putting the most important thing in the front, because what they found was these models would read the beginning pretty well and the end pretty well, but not the middle. It's pretty ridiculous. But skills are going to be like your big thing for the web app. So if you use Claude, they're super easy. But like, so for you, it would be like Dave's podcast show notes skill. And it would be a text file, markdown file with all of the things that you want to check. Like, hey, remember, make sure you read through the entire transcript, pull out specific quotes, make sure there's timestamps, like everything that you'd want it to do. And then and then like, let's say we want to go away from the web app, way easier to do these things like in Claude Code because you can control the memory and the files more. So in like Claude Code or Codex, so when we're using the local app, I'll just say web app and local app to make it easy. The local app does not have persistent chat memory. So on the web app, you could ask it like, hey, what did we talk about, in this past chat? And it could reference that. Local, it can't do that. But what that unlocks is you can control where all the files go. So it makes it like less prone to mistakes because it's not referencing so much information at one time, if that makes sense. So local, it's the same thing with more skills, but then you can also just have like other files in there, like instruction files and all of that. But essentially it comes down to like skills are going to be your big thing. The more skills you have and then calling on those skills, the more accurate it will be with whatever task you want to do.
That's it. Now, and you can also download skills, right? Do you ever do that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's his name is like Corey Haynes. He has a GitHub. So when you start getting into skills, you're gonna start feeling really smart because you'll start messing with GitHub, which scared me honestly when I first started. It's not scary at all though. It's just another place where like historically it's like where coders put a lot of their files and all of that. It's probably a much smarter way to say that. But his name's like Corey Haynes, and he has like a marketing skill repo. That's what GitHub folders are called. They're called like repos, repositories. And you could like literally download others' skills. So like at Builder Funnel, right? We have like everybody's using different skills, and it'll be like, hey, like I love this skill. Like I'm just gonna drop it in like our AI Slack channel, and you can just download and add it like straight into your Claude or into your Chat GPT. So very shareable, kind of similar to custom GPTs. This is kind of the next level of custom GPTs.
That's what I was thinking. I didn't want to sound too dumb. Like, is that like a custom GPT?
No, it's very similar. And funny enough, this is just like the next iteration of them. I think ChatGPT really wanted custom GPTs to work. The issue with custom GPTs though, so like let's say like I'm doing paid ads optimization for Builder Funnel, right? So I wanted to look at our landing page. I wanted to analyze our hooks, and then I wanted to create our ad creative, like I talked about earlier, right? Those are three different skills. With ChatGPT, you can only call on one custom GPT at a time. So you'd have to start a chat with my landing page custom GPT, or I'd have a chat and I could at each one in like three different chats, but it still like wasn't super great. So with skills, I could basically say something like, hey, it's time for Builder Funnel ads optimization. Can you, analyze our past week's worth of data, look at our landing page, analyze our hooks, and then create creative based off the winners. And it would basically say, okay, perfect. I'm going to call on these three tools. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yep. So that's why skills are so powerful, because they compound. So you can have as many skills as you want, and they can be super specific because these AI models can call on them as many times, as many tools as they want. So you can get really specific with it.
And I believe there's also a skill that you can use or download to build skills.
It comes with Claude. Yeah, it's literally called Skill Creator. Yeah, and they've made it even easier, because when skills first came out, I was having trouble. They have to be like a specific type of file and specific naming, like skill.md and all of this, and I was having issues with it. Now you can literally just, like what I do if I'm making a new skill is I'll just say, hey, this chat was awesome. I'd love for this to be a skill. Can you create one? And it just does it for you. So a lot of this now comes to, if you do a workflow once, that's what I would do personally. If you're, for your users listening out there, for your people listening out there, audience is the better word. If you're making skills, like I would not try to make one from scratch. Do what you want to do, go through the workflow first. And then when the chat is over, you can have ChatGPT or Claude make that into a skill for you?
I think that is like the perfect segue into kind of an overall mindset shift that I find kind of exciting but tricky. Because when we talk about prompts and instructions to tell it what to do, so I'm going through an exercise where I'm trying to, analyze piles of documents over 14 years and consolidate them and do all this and then create this thing. So I'm trying to come up with what the end deliverables are. And as I go through it, and this is in Claude and having conversations, it's like I should have just, and I think I have done this now, is just talk about what I'm trying to figure out, right? I'm trying to connect the dots between scopes of work and estimating. Like it's as simple as that. And
Yeah.
then, so try and figure out, instead of telling it what to do, give it what I'm trying to solve. It gets a little bit more philosophical, and then you start to build out the pieces to that, because I don't understand all the tools or the mechanisms or the things that are the most efficient way to get there. And if you go the Dave
Yeah.
linear route, I'm gonna break it. I'm gonna go
Mhm.
down a road and then find something that will make it work for me that it doesn't want to do, which is
Yeah.
literally every software I've ever used. Does that make sense?
Yeah. 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 I will say, do you type everything or do you do speech to text?
So I started doing speech to text this
Good.
week, and I want to get more comfortable with that. Plus, I never actually learned to type, so I'm actually better at speech to
Same
text.
way. Yep. Yep.
Um, but I hear that that's a huge part of it, right? Where I can literally, as I work throughout the day, just have the conversations about what I'm doing and what, right? Is that like more
Yeah.
than just instructing it, to just have a conversation out loud?
Yeah, when I'm teaching people AI, it's the first thing that's one also the first thing I'm teaching them is like, hey, you want to get speech to text. You can use the built-in ones; they're okay. I pay for one called Whisper Flow. I like that one. You can use whatever. But really, like you're gonna give. This is where like the first big shift came in. It was because prompt when like a year and a half ago, like prompt engineering was like the thing. People thought like you were
Mhm.
gonna get hired. Like I'm pretty sure some companies were hiring like six figures for like a prompt engineer. Like this is ridiculous. Like
Yeah.
literally just making really really good prompts and like these super long instructions and you're that doesn't matter anymore. A good prompt is like okay, I guess. Like there's still some prompts that I use for like super repeatable work that just they haven't stopped working, so I'm gonna keep using them, but the context that you're going to give from just turning on your speech to text and rambling is so much better than any prompt. It's so much better than like sitting there and like figuring out every single thing you want to like type out and say. I will literally be speech to text and like change my mind like 3 times. But yeah, that is the way to go. That is like how you're going to give the most context. You're just going to keep moving really fast. Because yeah, there's nothing better than raw thoughts.
Hmm. Yeah, and it's breaking that down into the actual intent. It's digging deeper,
Mhm.
or
Yeah.
trying to. On the model note, so in Claude, what is your favorite model?
Within Claude,
Yeah.
I mean, I've upgraded to the $200 a month, so I've just been using Opus. That's like their most powerful model.
Yeah.
I think all their models are great though. I
Yeah.
think like Sonnet's great. Claude's like I would say like the big issue with Claude is always the usage limits. Like the models are great, but like if you only have like $20 to spend, I'm still recommending ChatGPT. You're not going to get far with $20 with Claude. ChatGPT, they're very generous, and if you even want to go more generous, Gemini, insane. I pay for a $20 subscription just for Notebook LM, which is one of their other tools, and I've never hit my limits on Gemini. It's kind of crazy, but
Yeah.
I'd say Opus within Claude. Sonnet's great as well. Even Haiku, which is like their really small model. If it's like an easy task, that works well too.
Well, that's something else I'm trying to figure out. And maybe it can start figuring out, like when you give it a task, maybe it should start to figure out what the best model is to do that. Right.
Yeah, I think most of them have like some sort of like auto or whatever.
Okay.
Most of the time, like I would say, like if you're not on the at least the $100 a month version, I would just stick to Sonnet.
Okay.
It's great. It's fine. It won't drain your usage as much. If you're paying $100 or $200 a month, go ahead and use Opus. It's the most powerful model, and I'm pretty sure if you pay that much, they actually give you a separate usage meter for Sonnet only. So if you run
Okay.
out of Opus, you could even use Sonnet.
Yeah, because I was doing the $20 a month and then quickly had to load up $150. an
Oh yeah.
opus. like,
Yeah.
like, am I
It's
asking it to do
nuts.
too much? I don't know. I didn't think what I was doing was too
No, it's
sophisticated.
crazy. It's
But
crazy. Yeah.
I was digging, I was messing with it. I was really just trying to see where my boundaries were, not where I'm gonna end in AI, but like see, like it's
Yeah.
hard for me to understand what's efficient and what's inefficient, with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
I
want
think
it to
these
inform
tools,
me.
yeah, these tools are worth it. It's funny, Dave, because when they first introduced the $100 and $200 pricing tiers, probably around like a year and a half, 2 years ago, people thought it was crazy. Like,
Hmm.
I'm not paying $200 a month for an AI subscription. Now it's like everybody's like, I have multiple $200 accounts. I'm hitting my limits, which I don't know what those people are doing. They must be automating a ton of stuff. I've never hit it with the $200 a month, but yeah, it's worth it. Just like the amount of things that you can test, the amount of things that Claude can connect to. Um, and one of my goals too is I really want to get into codecs as well. A big thing with me is I don't ever try to like shift people like towards one way or the other. Like, I wouldn't call myself like a model hopper. So like when like a new model comes out, people are like, Claude's dead, go to ChatGPT. And then like I think I literally put out a post and I'm just gonna keep reposting it every time people switch because people just keep going back and forth. Um, but really like do keep your mind open. Like, you don't want to like just stick to like one thing just because like, like that's just what you're on. Obviously, like it's a balance, right? Like, you don't want to like upend your workflow every single time a new thing comes out, but
Right.
also you do want to do your due diligence and just like check out the other models. Like, almost nobody talks about Gemini. Like, when you talk about a company that has infinite money, like Google, like,
Right.
yeah, I mean, like the amount of data Google has, the amount of things they can connect to, like it's kind of like a given that they're probably going to beat out Anthropic, which is Claude. They're probably going to beat out OpenAI, which is ChatGPT. So like I always like to like play around with Gemini and all that too.
And I was trying to figure that out a little bit, and I wanted Gemini to build me a Google
No.
site, just build me an
Yeah.
interface to access Google Docs that have been
Hmm.
created. And it's like, nah, I think it
Yep.
does with the enterprise version or something. And I, I think it's a really
Yeah.
sophisticated model,
Gemini's
but
great.
they're
Yeah.
trying to make it a little bit more consumer accessible to start, right?
You
I'm
know
sure
what?
if you get into
Yeah.
the other side of it, it's like, holy crap. But like you open up PowerPoint, it's like, what kind of PowerPoint do you want to make? And you type it in, and all of a sudden it makes it. I'm like, that's pretty
Yeah.
cool, right? It's doing a
Yeah.
lot of that stuff on the consumer front, and I'm kind of in the middle, right? I'm between end user and
Hmm.
computer scientist, just trying to understand how I can leverage these tools to help, automations or clean up
Yeah.
workflow or clean out the garage or different stuff like that.
No, yeah,
So
I
it's
love that. I
really
love that you brought
interesting.
that up. That's been super interesting to follow with these companies too, is to see who's going more towards. I just pretty out Claude's going very towards enterprise.
Yeah,
That's their market. Like, they're
yeah,
going hard towards enterprise. I know with like at Builder Funnel, like a big thing for us was like getting AI compliant, being up with the rules. Like, we have like Claude enterprise accounts and all of that. ChatGPT, they're kind of like in the middle. Like, I would
hmm,
say, which is funny, like when I talk with my network, but my friends like with work and all of that, it's all Claude code. When I talk with like my girlfriend and like my like friends and just like casual, it's all chat. It's all like, yeah, like they're all using Chat GPT. So it's like they're going more towards like the casual user. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like Gemini was like huge probably like 6 months ago, and they kind of died off. And they're probably going to release something crazy here in the next couple of weeks. It's Google, and then everybody's going to be back on Gemini. I really don't know which way they're going to go, but I think I think they truly are in the middle. I think that they're the if you use G Suite, Gemini is an insane deal for $20.
yeah,
You get a ton of stuff. So if you're a G Suite user, Gemini is great. But yeah, I think they're kind of bouncing between like they also have like the AI mode with search. So that's also like a fun thing to follow with these companies. It's like which lane are they trying to go in and who they're trying to appeal to.
yeah. Last week in Arizona, I was on an impromptu panel discussion on uncertainty in the market and managing that. And it doesn't matter what panel discussion you're on, AI will always come up in it. And
Oh yeah.
we're up there, and one of the questions was there's three panelists, and the question is, what's the difference between Claude and ChatGPT? And everyone's like, we don't know. So then I ask it
Yeah.
to the following speaker, who is Rathna, who just talked about AI automation and
Yeah.
CRMs and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, just to follow up what the previous panel couldn't answer, what's the difference? She basically said what you say, right? Like they all kind of
Yeah.
cater to different things or different personalities, but they're all doing the
Mhm.
same thing. And there's
Yep.
another fellow there that afterwards he's like, literally ChatGPT and Claude is DeWalt tools and Milwaukee tools,
Mhm.
right? And I'm
Yeah.
like, so like Apple and Microsoft, or Apple and PC, or Mac and PC is like not even
Yeah.
that different. Like we're
Mhm.
talking DeWalt in Milwaukee.
No, yeah, like it very like yeah, like they like a rule of thumb is like if you see ChatGPT come out with something, everybody's like, "Oh, we gotta hop over there." Chances are Claude's about to come out with the same thing in a couple weeks, or Google, or whoever. Like they all, I think it's funny. I think this is like honestly like my generation's like this feels like a space race to me. Like this
Mm-hmm.
is so much fun. This is like our internet. This is our space race. The competitiveness with these companies is so much fun to watch, and like as consumers, we win. Like, I don't know if you've been following with like all like the Claude, like Claude had this huge issue with Claude Code, and basically everybody's like, "No, they made Claude Code dumb. The usages are crazy." And so ChatGPT came out and they're like, "Hey, we just updated Codex, and like every time we get like a good amount of like new users, we'll just keep resetting limits." So like every week they just been keep resetting limits, like basically just like you're using it for free at this point. And they're like capitalizing on that.
Yeah, because you're using all those users to continue to build your model. So
Yep.
everybody
Yeah.
helps each other. But on the back end of it, it is a crazy amount of money and electricity and cooling and all this stuff. When you have billions of people using this thing, you
Yeah.
understand why they're not always going to dig all the way down for you. They're trying to
Hmm.
find the most efficient way. They're 80/20
Yep.
ruling it, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we're like that's it. That's like what's going to make the most sense. That's going to move, you know, humankind forward, is if we 80/20 it. Otherwise, we're going to literally just we can't afford to provide this level of AI
It
support to
does.
everyone in
Yeah.
the entire world.
That's been like one part, like honestly, sometimes like I'm almost like I don't know if afraid's the right word, but like I'm almost nervous to tell people how into an AI I am that like aren't, in my LinkedIn, because it's like, dude, like the data center stuff is crazy. I'm not saying like I think I definitely could educate myself more on like the environmental effects of AI for sure. But yeah, the data center stuff is crazy. There's a lot of Gen Z people out here who are like anti AI. Like there's a huge
There's a
chunk of my
huge one going on
generation.
in Tempe, right? There's a massive. I can't
Yeah,
remember who's it. Yeah.
Arizona's huge for data centers because it's a lot of desert and it's hot. Like it's yeah, so it kind of depends on like your regulations. Like even I moved from Indiana out here, and like Indiana's even been huge with the data centers. It kind of just depends on like your state's like legislation, but that's definitely something too that's like a huge part of this is uh basically like I'm seeing like two sides, right? So it's like people like us who are like excited, like we see like all the possibilities, like there's a real possibility with like tools like AI, like we can cure things like cancer, like for sure. Like we could do huge things. We could accelerate humankind forward. Where I'm like, to be honest, like yeah, like I think sometimes like those data centers, like they're worth it. Like if we need to get some more power, we need to like bring it in, like let's do it. But then there's another side for sure that's like worried about the job loss. They're worried about like the slopification of everything and the environmental effects, which is like valid too. So it's a weird point. It's like a weird place to be in, for sure.
Yeah, very different than when we were chatting a year ago, huh? I think we were just talking about. I don't even know if we
Yeah,
did. We even talk about AI?
we
Maybe a
did a
little
little
bit.
bit, but
Yeah.
not a ton. And most of the crowd didn't really even know. I mean, it's crazy. Like the shift. Like even when I'm talking with new clients that come into Builder Funnel, almost every one of them is using AI in some capacity. We just did an episode about like the top ways that we're seeing like our clients and prospects use AI. And some of the stuff that they're doing is crazy. I think like a year and a half ago, it was more fun. Like people were like, "Ooh, this is a cool thing. This is fun. Like this is funny." And now it's turned to like this is like what's going to destroy the planet. This is what's going to lose, like people are going to lose tons and tons of jobs. Like it's definitely a double-edged sword. And then you go back to even like the defense stuff a couple months ago with like the government. like using like the whole chat. I don't know if you saw all that, but like with ChatGPT and Claude, and they're using models to launch missiles and all of that. It's like a whole mess.
All right, we took a
Yeah.
turn there, Kai.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like you can't. I feel like you can't talk about. I feel like you gotta be fair. Like you gotta talk about both sides of AI for sure. There's definitely a lot of good, but you gotta follow the stories as well with all the stuff going on. And yeah, that was a huge one. I mean, people were boycotting ChatGPT like a couple months ago because they signed that defense contract, and then Anthropic didn't, and so people flocked to Anthropic.
Ah,
And you
that's why
see,
there's all the cloud
yeah,
talk. Okay, yeah.
so that's where a lot of like the it was a couple of things here. Like the marketer in me, I'll talk about this really quickly. Claude did like a keep thinking campaign. So which was like a fantastic marketing campaign, basically all about like how it's like human plus AI for the future. They are against AI slop, all of this. So that was a big push for them. And then there was like the US government basically came in a couple months ago and basically told Claude like, hey, you have the best models. Like we want to use your models to like launch missiles and like we want to use it for military stuff. And Claude's like, we cannot give you unregulated access to these models because like that's not smart for like anybody. And so they're like, okay. And then ChatGPT was like, well, let's do it. Like we'll take it. Like we'll go ahead and take that contract. And so that was like the second wave to Claude. And now everybody forgot all about all that stuff. But yeah, you got to talk about the data centers. You got to talk about the controversies because that's definitely a very real part of these tools and these companies. And I think almost those things are just as interesting to follow as how good the models are getting as well.
Well, and to kind of the original conversation point
Mhm.
on the on working locally on your computer and the
Yeah.
files on your computer, is that more efficient because it's obviously taking information from the cloud, but you're using less cloud storage?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Essentially. Yeah.
yeah,
And like in very simple speak. Yeah.
yeah. That's how I speak.
Yeah. 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 That's how I speak too. Yeah. That's how I speak too. Like there's probably somebody out there like there's way more steps to it. For me and Dave, that's perfect. We
That's
get
it. That's all I need.
it.
Well, and on that point, because you're a marketer,
Mhm.
and I mean, I guess, and certainly like in the last decade to be in marketing, you had to have a level of computer science understanding anyway. But so
Yeah.
how did you go from being a kid to essentially being a marketing computer scientist?
Yeah, I would say like definitely not computer science. I mean, I never knew how to code or anything like that before AI.
Okay.
It's all AI, all of that. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think I mean, I always just wanted to like work in like sports front office, like kind of like that's what I want to do. I want to be a GM. I want to trade players, sign players. Like I want to do all that. And I think like at the core of it was like specifically in the NBA, there's only like 30 of those jobs in the world. And like that's just how my brain, I'm just like, I'm gonna get it. Like that's just how my brain works. Like I didn't even think about that. So I think at its core is just like I like to just like push like what's possible. And I think that's kind of how this whole like AI and marketing just works really well for me. Like eventually like I knew like sports wasn't for me. That's not really like the career I wanted to go. And I like fluid, fast-paced environments. AI is a fluid, fast-paced tool, and it can push like what's possible. Like you mentioned something earlier about even like something like as simple as like the show notes. Like I think that's what people forget is it's like AI may not do it perfect, but like what are the odds that you would have done it at all
I wouldn't
without it?
have. No, no
Yeah.
question. Yeah.
So I think that's what people forget is it's like I see like a lot about like the AI image stuff. Like everybody is like they're I don't know, they're just like talking bad about these local businesses using ChatGPT in their social posts, like for the caption as well as like the graphic. It's very obviously like an AI graphic. And it's like that's a local business. Like, you think they're gonna pay a designer to do that versus a $20 subscription? Or you can even do it for free if you get like 5
Yeah.
prompts a day. Like that's just logic. I've never understood that. So anyway, I love that AI like pushes like what's possible. And I love that I do believe to some extent that it does level the playing field. I think it gives resources to a lot of people that just wouldn't have those resources. I think in other ways too, it can obviously make a wider gap. But I think almost anybody can start like like now it's very realistic. If you want to do a side hustle, you want to start a business, it's almost like pretty easy just to like go ahead and start doing it and like use AI to help with a lot of that. And then eventually, if you want to bring a human in and help with that, cool. But yeah, it's just like that's why I get so excited about that. I look at the more positives, even though we talk about all that other stuff. I look at more of the positives, and like it enables like what wasn't possible, a couple years ago for a lot of people.
Absolutely. And it allows us, to bring hopefully more value to the world, right? Like this show, for every for the millions of people watching and listening. If the technology wasn't more accessible through StreamYard and being able to connect the dots between all this stuff and a
Yeah.
microphone I could buy on Amazon, there's no way this show would ever exist. So we're able to bring hopefully more valuable content. And yeah, you're going to end up with a lot more garbage content out there too. But the good
Yeah.
stuff, the authentic stuff, I still think will rise to the top, which is what we're trying to do. So to your point, like because you have back end stuff on the website that allows more people to find you, and you're delivering, good authentic stuff, and maybe the stuff
Yeah.
on the back end is AI generated, you wouldn't even have that otherwise. And then those people wouldn't be
Yeah.
able to find you and realize that you existed, because you have to compete against people that are
Yeah.
able to do that and maybe not even be as good. So
Yeah.
I agree. I think it allows, especially small businesses, especially in the world of remodeling, to hopefully,
Yes. Yeah.
get a little bit more visibility and grow and not even necessarily grow, but just impact more and more good families, I think is really the dream. And then
Yeah. Yeah.
if we can use it to be more efficient and be better stewards of our profession, that sounds great too.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. I mean, like I work at a marketing agency, right? But even I'll say, like, you know, I love when new clients come in and they've tried some stuff before. I mean, in this industry, like remodelers and builders, like there's just not there's a lot of small teams. Like you're not really thinking about sitting down and learning Google Analytics or what these dashboards mean. So be able to export that data and have ChatGPT or Claude read it back to you is great. Being able to like help you, like it's much easier to edit a draft than to start from scratch. So even if you have ChatGPT kind of give you that first draft, even if it's like the worst
Mhm.
first draft ever, it just gets you started. Like I love seeing people try with these tools with marketing to start. And it's great. I think sometimes it makes them understand. It makes them understand how hard like our job is too. And I think it gives them some perspective because they're like, oh, okay, whoa, like this isn't just like throw it in Chat GPT and it works. There's actually like some steps here. So yeah, I think like if your audience is gonna walk away with anything, like it's just try. Like stop watching all these videos. If you're watching these videos, keep watching the podcast. Obviously, Dave does a
Yeah.
great job.
Yeah.
But yeah, his is not including this. But like, don't just watch hours of videos and like not do anything or be so overwhelmed by these tools. Like, just pick one tool and like one thing and just like start. Like that's how I did it. Like I started a couple of years ago just using ChatGPT to like help with social captions. And it's just kind of evolved into like, oh, can I do this? Let me do this. Let me do this. Let me do this. And like it just becomes like a snowball effect into like what you can do.
Yeah, and I love its ability to simplify stuff. Like just what you said, Google Analytics,
Yeah.
good Lord, that's a whole bunch of stuff
Yeah.
that is analyzed by Google Analytics managers that I don't understand. So I can take and load
Yeah.
it into ChatGPT and it can compare it and tell me exactly like, hey, I don't know what all this means. Can you give me 10 bullet points on what's working and what's not?
Exactly. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Boom. Or it can just be a screenshot. I love loading screenshots in. Oh, I use
It's
it for
fantastic.
IT stuff all the time. Like I'm getting this error message and literally load the error message screenshot, just snipping tool and load it in there. It's like, oh yeah,
Well,
that's a pretty
yep.
common one.
Yep. When I have to work in the terminal, that's what I do. I'm like, this terminal is saying some scary stuff. It's like, just put in this command. I think one time it was literally just like, I think Claude was literally like, it literally just told you to do this. And I was like, oh, all right, my bad. Let me just copy and paste that command. So yeah, it's great.
Love it, man. Well, we're over time a little bit. Jeez. So hey,
Yeah.
next time we talk, we're going to talk in less than a year from now. But
Yes.
what do you think we're going to be talking about a year from now when we talk? What's
We're gonna be
next?
talking about. We didn't get to talk about agents, and I'm gonna make up a word. I don't know if it's a made up word here, but the consumerification. I think you might have even used it earlier. The consumerification of agents. So essentially, like an agent is like how we're talking to ChatGPT and we prompt it. These agents are doing the work themselves. And a big one that blew up was OpenClaw. And it literally has its own computer and it does all these things. There's ones like Manus, Perplexity Computer. We'll be talking about those. We'll be talking about how these companies are making these agents much easier to use for the masses way faster than I thought. I thought we would have to wait for these agent tools, but they're making it pretty easy to where I could see the next 6 months to a year that the average person that's using ChatGPT, like how they are and how they're saying like chat, they're going to have their own agent as well, which is insane to think about.
That's cool. All right, we'll see if that comes true.
Yeah.
I think you're right. Probably in less than a year. I think you said 3 to 6 months. Another thing I'm kind of curious about is like the connectability. So right now we stood in this web version or this app version.
Yeah.
It's essentially Siri where we're just talking back and forth, you know, more sophisticated version of it. But now you're starting to see, you know, these connector aspects. So like JobTread, I believe, has some sort of integration or connection to Claude. So now in these apps that you're using or these pieces of software that you're using, you're going to have connectivity to your kind of core AI, right?
Yeah.
That's my simplification of it.
Yeah.
What have you seen in that world?
Insane stuff. I'll tell you, we tested the JobTread one. It was super cool. We like a manual job for us is like we use HubSpot for like a marketing CRM, and then JobTread usually our clients use it as like a post, like they're actually like project managing the project out. And we've had to like either email the client or get into a JobTread and go back and forth. And now we have HubSpot connected to Claude, and then we have JobTread connected to Claude. And we were just like, okay, like just connect the dots here. Like where did these contracts come from? Like what blogs they read? And it just gave us like the full funnel view for every single contract that came in like 10 seconds. So like insane stuff, what you can do. And that was just like level 1 of their integration, which is just like, it just reads the data. The JobTread run can actually like do a lot more too. So integrations, like I've always said like AI as the operating system is like where I think we're heading for sure, where you're not going to have all these different apps open and all of that. You're just going to be talking to your AI bot and it's going to be accessing these apps for you. We're getting pretty close to that point. Some would argue that we're already there, depending on how robust your setup is.
Yeah, I love that. Right. Where and I think was it 3 years ago or something? I wrote an article on AI for JLC magazine. I remember I reached out to the editor in chief, Clayton DeCorn, and I'm like, hey, I got an idea for an article. I think we need to write something about AI and ChatGPT. And he replied, sounds great, Dave. What is AI and ChatGPT?
Yep. Yeah.
Clayton, we got to get ahead of this. But that was some of the stuff that I was really interested in this understanding of patterns and automations and how we operate on a daily basis, right? So moving beyond when I'm accessing the AI, but it understands how I work on a daily basis and starts to introduce or get stuff done for me. Right? Maybe it needs to turn the lights on or turn the lights off, or like Claude does now, and it says, hey, it might be time to go for a walk. You've been kind of at it, or I guess our phones kind of do that too. But like that stuff is really intriguing to me, and how it can really, it's like a super executive assistant. Who knows, who anticipates when you're going to want a coffee.
It's
like this,
and that's you. So next time we talk, Dave, that's exactly what we'll talk about, because that's like where you start getting to agent land, where these agents, they just do things themselves. And that's like what I was talking about. Like,
is that Son of Anton? Is that Son of Anton?
Son of Anton? No, I don't know what you're referencing.
Oh, you haven't watched Silicon Valley?
No.
Oh, dude. Get off the computer and watch that.
Okay.
It's just more Mike Judge predicting the future, from Office Space to Idiocracy to Son of Anton, the AI agent. Oh, it's so good.
Okay, I'll watch the local. I've heard of it, so I definitely got to watch it.
And that was like 8 years ago. Way ahead of it. Yes. Anyway, sorry to interrupt.
No. That all I was saying is just that's where we're getting in with the agents, and that's where it's almost like these like super, like you said, super executive assistants, personal assistants that just kind of help you with your daily life, and you don't even have to prompt them or anything. They're just kind of running in the background. That as a mass consumer tool is so interesting. And so I'm ready to see that for sure.
All right. Well, we did a great job of predicting the future live
Did.
here on LivLive. Kai, it's Kai, right? You said K earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Kai.
That's Kai. It's
Oh,
Kai.
you said
Yeah.
K Biami for I think.
Yeah,
the
Kai
website.
Biami Marketing. Yeah, yeah.
I was like, dude, I've always called you Kai. I hope I haven't said your name.
No, yeah, it's Kai. You're right. Yeah.
Super awesome to have you on here, man. I love this stuff.
Yes.
I learned a lot, and honestly, like having you lined up to be on here was a really good push for me to really dive in a little bit more to make sure I
love it.
Knew a little bit, like when I asked you which model you're using.
Oh, you did great.
Yeah, because I know Sonnet and Opus 4.7 and all this because I literally started it on Monday. But awesome. Really cool, man. Thanks for being here. Say hey to Spencer and the crew at Builder Funnel. Yes. People want to find you and follow you and see what's going on. Where to?
Yeah, so you could if you just type in my name, I don't know if they can see my nameplate here, but it's Kai, B as in boy, IAMI. If you just look that up on LinkedIn, that's where I'm most active. You can message me if you have any questions. And then, yeah, if you ever wanted to like work with me, like if you're a remodeler and builder, go hit up Builder Funnel. Like we do some really cool stuff. And I'll make sure you're taken care of. But yeah, thanks for having me on. Spencer, Danny obviously said hi too. This is super fun. So hopefully, again, not a year. I think a year is too long, but maybe within that, maybe I'll be on the next couple months here to see how things have shifted. Things are moving really fast.
It's crazy. It's certainly exponential at this point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you guys really want to dig in deeper with Kai, like on his LinkedIn, he has all the videos of the things that he's building. It's super cool. It's really, really impressive. And I mean, really, you're just a maker at heart, man. I love it. You're just making stuff.
I love it.
It's super cool.
Yeah. It's fun. Work, marketing, AI, it's all fun right now. You got to keep that in mind. It's all fun.
That's right. That's the idea anyway. Thanks again, man. We'll talk soon.
Awesome. See you, Dave.
See ya.